Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. This is the follow-up video to the Mr. Hollow Point 275 grain 510 diameter slug in 32 gauge. Now last time we used 20 grains of blue dot and well, as you guys seen, if you've seen the video, they were probably over pressure and the accuracy was really hit and miss. Josh shot a really good group, mine was god awful. This time I've broken them back down, we have 6 left, and reworked the load. It is a new Shadat Hall, 24 grains of little gun, the SG 32 wad, the bottom half of it, 2 1/8 inch nitro cards, the Mr. Hollow Point 275 grain slug, it is 510 diameter, and we have a fold crimp on these. Did these with my Lee Loadall using OMV dies. 32 gauge is not normally fold crimped, but these are. We do have a nice deep set crimp, and it is perfectly even. These do still have the Shadat CX1000 primer in them, which is a weak primer. Not great for little gun, which is a much slower powder than blue dot, but having a tight fold crimp like that will probably help with the burn. Just as a side note here, if you guys are into the odd gauges, here's a 24 gauge, and it is also done with a fold crimp using, again, the OMV dies on my Lee Loadall. Just like 32 gauge, 24 is not normally fold crimp, but this one is. But anyway, the gun we're using is my H&R 32 gauge special. We have a Bushnell 3x9x40 on it, 42 yards, chrono. Let's see how these do. And yes, this is a tranquilizer gun, normally used in obviously the veterinary field. They take a 22 blank adapter that is the same dimensions as a 32 gauge shot shell. You load them with a 32 gauge blank to send darts downrange to trank the animal.
Alright guys, I've got 3 of these slugs here. Let's see how they do. I will have to say though, buddy, give you credit. These things look fabulous.
OMB dies.
They look like a factory round. But I guess I've made his head big enough. Let's see how they pattern. We're at 42 yards. I've got to, before I close this breech anyways, I got to step up here, turn the chrono on. It's open. Of course, I'm never actually in front of it neither, but.
Nope. Anytime you guys see us turn the chrono on like that, we are not actually in front of the gun, just so you know.
I mean, I guess in perspective we're in front of it, but yeah, we're not directly in front of it.
Yeah, it looks like we are, but we ain't.
Off to the side of it. That's alright, I just left it open that time. This one probably ain't coming out. It's a little stiff.
Oh, yeah, these nitro cards are a little bit bigger than the internal diameter of the hull. They're 32 gauge nitro cards, but they don't fit 32 gauge.
Right. I'd say they work good in 28.
Tapered hulls, yes. Actually, they're the right diameter, 530.
All right, are you ready, sir?
Yep.
Oh, that went high and right. Or no, high and left. My bad. Oh, it did come out. Ooh, that's nasty.
30.
Yeah.
1593 though. Great speed.
That is disgusting. They might benefit from a mag primer and like a half a grain less.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe a full grain, I don't know. Huh.
1573.
Wasn't these things really accurate last time we shot them?
Your group, yes. My group was horrible.
Well, it looks like we just switched places today.
Dang.
Well, that just means you got to shoot a really good group.
Maybe this weight just isn't good for that rifling. I don't know.
No, them are all wild.
Okay, 1546.
There's probably a solid foot between all 3 of them.
That ain't no good.
It makes like a V, this side, this side, this side.
Okay. Well, his 345 grain slug was super accurate with this gun. This one, it don't look like, I guess this gun likes that weight of slug.
It's open though.
Alrighty. I guess let's go check that out and I'll lay my group down.
Okay.
After he shows his holes.
Might put schmutz off the back of them.
A little bit higher. There you go.
They look fine. Primers are still all around. There's no flow back. The brass all looks good on them.
Yeah, those look great. Little gun works great in 32 gauge.
Yep.
Blue dot, well, if you back down the powder charge from 20, yes.
All right, one's over here, one's here, one's here.
Right. Like we've mentioned before, there is 8 published loads for 32 gauge, none with Slug, so it's all pretty much just trial and error. This was definitely error, definitely a trial.
I was gonna say I wouldn't even call it error per se. So I feel like if you had enough time, you could probably sit down and figure out how to make this work. What it likes, what FPS, what
Right.
kind of stack height or cushion column it wants. You could totally figure this out.
Right. Now, I guess any data is good data, like not so much low data, but on paper data. So you know what's good and what's bad.
Basically, what's a good thing to look at for me anyways is I've got a payload and I've got a powder charge for said payload. That's good starting grounds for me. Look at the load, what size. This is how I break it down anyways. I'll look at the load, what watt it uses. I may not have that exact wad, but I can always look how long the cushion section or whatever is on it and try to roughly figure it out, stay a few grains away from max charge, and like we do all the time, R&D, research development.
That's
this
exactly...
one here needs some more development.
Yeah, more research too.
That's okay though. I got 1, 2, 3 at 42 yards. The other day we shot them and they was like all right here.
Right.
I guess technically there's right here. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we have a lot more Mr. Hollow Point 510 diameter slugs with all kinds of ranging weights. This is only the second, and I believe he sent us 6 different, basically 32 gauge slugs. So in the future, we'll be doing more with it. But I'm going to lay my group down and see what I can do. I'm not high hopes for this. I don't have high hopes for this, I should have said. But let's see. All right, guys, I'm going to lay my group down. Again, I don't have high hopes for it, but you never know. Let's see here. All right, here we go.
1593.
Yeah, and that hit an inch below point of aim.
Maybe they just need to be drove a little faster.
I don't know. Maybe they need to be drove slower, like 200 FPS slower. I don't know.
Y'all are learning with us on this one.
Sure are.
Like, there's only 7 different published loads for this gauge.
Right beside it.
That's looking like the group I laid down last time.
What is going on here? 1610.
I'm telling you, it seems like this particular weight likes fast.
It could be right.
Which we've run into that with different weight categories before,
Sure
though.
have. The Mr. Hollow Point 410 grain 12 gauge slug. It hated being pushed fast.
But if you push it around 1200...
No, not even that. When you drop it down to like 900 FPS, they were pretty decently accurate.
Something to look at.
Yep. Those are in a string like that.
The last time we had this gun out, I laid down a group like that, and he laid down a group like I just shot.
Pretty
we switched
strange.
places.
Okay, so they're in about a 3-inch group. If that was 12 gauge slugs or 10 gauge, even 2016, like we've said before, that would be an amazing group right there. But since 32 gauge is a lot smaller, 510 versus like 729 for 12 gauge, the group looks worse than it is, but it's actually a pretty good group. 1571. I'll show you these holes while I'm at it. The gun is very dirty, so we got to wipe off the schmutz. And there's the primers. If it's focused, I can't tell.
Yeah, you're good.
Brass, it doesn't even show ejection marks. I guess one right here, barely, where it rests on the ejector. Just ever so slight of it. But you get that with single shots.
That's probably the one that's up in the 1600s.
Probably. And the crimps all look great too.
Well, let's go look at this group you made.
Alright guys, here's the group. It looks like it's about 3.5 inches overall. I have a 12 gauge target wad. This is a Remington figure 8. And it's as long as that. And this way too. Both the outside holes are as long as a figure 8 wad to the center. So whatever this measures, that's what that is.
Americans, they'll use anything to measure.
It's a pretty good group. Again, if it was 12 gauge, it would look a lot better, but this is not bad.
That looks like you could put a donut around the middle hole and it touch the outside ones. How's that for a measurement?
No, no. Well, guys, I can't really explain why Josh had a terrible group and I had a fairly good one. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but there's a lot more testing to do with 32 gauge. Both of us really like this gun, and we do have 3 or 4 really good hand loads for it that are very accurate. So it is deer woods ready. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the
Appreciate it.
next one. Yeah, definitely appreciate it.